Hello, I'm Jan Moppert, Director of Career Services at Widener University. Today we're going to talk about formatting your resume. The format of your resume is important because it's about your image. It also helps you differentiate yourself from the competition. It makes it for easy reading for the reader, and it also demonstrates some skills of yours, your eye for detail skills as well as communication skills. If you're lucky, you have 20 seconds of the reader's attention. So it's extremely important that you eliminate all extraneous information such as bullets and articles. But one of the most important things to remember about formatting your resume is formatting is not going to take the place of good content. You can't make up for a lack of information or lack of experience or lack of education by putting a bunch of fancy formatting on the page. In other words, you can't put lipstick on a pig. You can decorate the pig all you want, but underneath it all, it's still a pig. So one of the first things I do when I'm formatting a resume is I look at how we're using the white space. Is there plenty of white space? Can you breathe between the sections? And does it float nicely on the page? Also, I look at the order of the resume. Am I saying the most important things first? Am I getting the good information out there? Do I have it in good hierarchical order so that we know that things are consistent? Take a look at the education section where you have the heading in one formatting way, the institution in another, and the title of the degree in another. We mimic that down in the experience section as well, so we make sure that things are nicely consistent. Also, we make sure that the bullets are in good order and you're saying the right things first there as well. It's important to talk about the unessential, the non-essential information on your resume. That's the dates and the locations. They have to be there for documenting what you're saying. However, they don't help sell you. So put them to the far right and don't bold or italics them because the eye will be drawn to them. They're just kind of there quietly on the other side of the page. You might want to, in your dates, use the word to instead of a dash or a hyphen, because oftentimes that's the number one typo I see on resumes, where people are not using dashes and hyphens consistently. Also, if you abbreviate dates, make sure you abbreviate them throughout the entire document. Again, you want to make sure that your headings, your addresses, if you abbreviate Pennsylvania in one part of your resume, you're doing it elsewhere, that your bullets are aligned nicely and everything is consistent through the document. Don't use a template. I can give you 100 reasons why not to use a template, but basically you don't differentiate yourself. You're one of thousands who are using them and you look like everybody else. In America, we don't put personal information on our resumes. Now, there's a caveat. In Latin American countries and many European countries, this information is not only desired, but oftentimes required. But in America, the recruiters follow the rules and policies of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and therefore they're not allowed to make recruiting decisions based on your marital status, on your age, on your health, on your race, on your religion, any of that. So don't put any of this information on your resume. Also, don't write in paragraphs. They're just boring. They're hard to read. It's not an attractive resume. People aren't drawn to them. Now, here is one example where a paragraph was used to kind of talk about the generalities of the job, but then the bullets were supporting that information with accomplishments and results. And that's different than writing in a whole bunch of paragraphs. You don't want to go over one page unless you're a seasoned professional. So only go one page, and if you do decide to go 2 pages because you're a seasoned professional, use more than half of the second page. If you can't do that, squeeze hard to get you onto 1 page. And if you're struggling keeping things on 1 page, think about your font size. You can go from a 10 to a 12-point font in the body of the copy. Look at your spacing and see if you can get rid of some unimportant information. Also, be aware of your margins. People tend to stretch these margins too much. It's okay to alter them a little bit, starting at the bottom, then going to the sides, and then altering the top. But make sure it doesn't look like you're bleeding off the page completely. And be sure and convert to a PDF before you send it out to lock in all that formatting. Don't use ampersands unless it's part of a formal name, Johnson & Johnson. It's just lazy writing. And also don't underline. Applicant tracking systems have a hard time reading things that are underlined, and it's just kind of distracting. Do not use a header or a footer because applicant tracking systems can't read them and they may not know who the resume belongs to. Avoid bold, avoid color, avoid inconsistent verb tenses or incorrect verb tenses, and get to know what is a proper noun and a common noun and use your capitalization accordingly. It's important to remember that you only have 20 seconds to get the recruiter's attention. So make sure your resume is attractive, that you're actually guiding the reader to the important information, and that you are differentiating good facts about you to them. You're also demonstrating your eye for detail and communication skills, and don't try to hide a lack of information or experience behind a lot of formatting. Next up, we're going to talk about your font choice. We hope you'll join us.